right, everybody, welcome to the Fox 10 News Now stream, part of fox10phoenix.com. I have a guest today, Dr. Sonal Harder with Dignity Health, and we're talking about, well, post-election feelings right now.
Yes.
We're not even 24 hours removed yet from the results coming, and depending on who you were voting for, it could be a really up day
Sure.
or a real down day.
Sure.
So how do you kind of balance that right now?
So we all agree that this has been a very exhausting process.
Sure.
It's not, I think this election stress has gone on for months and months, and leading up to very stressful 2 weeks. And for a lot of people, yesterday was a very shocking day for some, maybe a very happy day for others, and so we are divided in how we feel. And I think we can all get over this election stress disorder, or all the anxiety that's hyped around this topic, but it requires a lot of mindful effort. So it
Okay.
requires a lot of mindfulness about how we talk, our tone, who we talk to, a lot of grace, a lot of rising above our emotions, and keeping in mind that this is about one country, and we all can focus on working towards getting back together and kind of, covering up that gap that's been created for past several months.
Sure, and you're so correct about. I mean, this was a long election
Long.
season, so
Sure.
you got to figure that was a lot of pent up, support for the
Emotions.
candidate and emotion for people that were going for either
Sure.
candidate.
And we know based on statistics that this has been the most stressful election period that everybody has
Wow.
gone through. 1 out of 4 Americans have felt less productive at work. We know that we are more connected than ever before. You can have a dialogue on Facebook.
Yes.
You can talk about your party on Twitter. You can go against each other in the office and talk about your candidate. So we just haven't gotten a break. We just haven't gotten out of that cycle. And so we all are feeling it. But coming back to how do we get out of this? I think number one is restoring that faith. And what I mean by that, it's a broad term. And I know for some people it's so hard to feel that way right now, but it's one day at a time. So understanding that change doesn't happen overnight. So
Okay.
we are all fearful of changes and change that are coming our way.
Sure.
With both candidates, we worried about what's coming, and we were not sure about how that was going to impact our lives. And I think any of those changes do not happen in one day or 1 week. It takes a long time. We have a system in this country that's solid, and we have to have faith in that system. That's not going to fail us, So
Sure.
it's to be waited on how this plays out. But I think that's number one, is having faith that this has worked for many years. And I think that's where I would begin, is having faith. Number two is people who have won. I think they have to be careful in projecting how they celebrate. I think it's nice to celebrate, but not make an incident about it.
Sure, sure.
Don't be in somebody's face that
Don't be
was not on
boastful,
the
yes.
same side. You have to be respectful of how you talk, your tone, your pitch. Be respectful of somebody else's beliefs, and be tolerant that somebody can be different from you.
Absolutely.
And that's okay. At times, that's okay. And I think those are some things. And I always go back. I have 2 boys. So I always go back to, how would I explain this to my boys?
Sure.
And in simple terms, you have to say, accept the results, and you move on with a lot of grace and dignity. And you have control over your part and not on anybody else. So what part can I play to sort of rebuild this positivity? Negativity is very contagious, toxic. We all have seen that. It has drained us. People are drinking more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fun. People
No.
are driving more aggressively. Those are all statistics in the past few months. And you know what is interesting is, I was reading this article that said that we are volunteering less in the past few months because of all the stress. So I
Oh,
think
wow, it's
giving
weighing us
back-
down.
Weighing us down. And so people are less likely to go out and help other people because of anger, because it's all personal. And I think I say, take a break from media. Read the headlines, but you don't have to follow it all day on all different channels.
Sure, sure.
If you know there is a conflict at work, avoid those discussions. You can't change people. So just avoid these discussions. And I think start giving back to people in society. I think giving back brings back those deeper values that we all have,
Yes.
regardless of what party you're on.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's my takeaway from this.
And will the upcoming holidays, will that help? Will this help a little bit?
It's such a great point you bring up, right? This is the Thanksgiving month.
Yes.
It's a month of gratitude and giving back. Why not? I think we all can play a part in building this nation back again. And I think we will survive all the negativity that has been created for so many weeks and months, and I think we'll get out of it. I think Thanksgiving is here at the right time.
Perfect time there, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's why they vote in November. You
Exactly. You know what? I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense
Yes.
now, right?
And let's talk a little bit about the social media aspect, because before social media, say if you didn't like something that was on the TV, you would just shut it off. But now, with social media, it just seems like it's it's on our tablet, it's on our phone, it's everywhere.
Sure.
So how can someone that is not feeling too great about this week, how can they kind of just shut off with a little bit without feeling like they're missing out on something?
Sure. So I think like I said, mentioned before, disconnecting yourself for a few periods, like some periods of time in the day. So I know of some people who are on Facebook and following every single dialogue all day long. I mean, I can't understand how that is healthy. I think reading headlines is a good thing, following up and catching up on what's going on, but not getting involved in all forms of social media all day long. I say take a break, go to the gym, maybe get a massage, maybe go for a pedicure.
Yeah.
Take a break and disconnect. Don't get involved in every single discussion about politics around you. And if you do, be graceful and respectful. I go back to that because I think sometimes passion can bring out emotions, strong emotions, and we can get very aggressive about our beliefs. And I can't imagine that I would feel valued if I'm devaluing somebody else's beliefs.
Yes.
So sort of that ideology where you take breaks and not watch this and follow this 24/7.
Sure. And when you think about this election season, it's really like just a roller coaster ride. And if you think about it, yesterday everybody was just going up.
Sure.
Where because they're voting, they're happy for their candidate,
Sure.
and then that drop did come. So
Sure.
it's amazing to see how some people are just like so
Sure.
distraught.
They are, because there is a lot of passion, there is a lot of frustration, there's a belief system, and I think we are divided in how we felt about this election.
Yes.
And I think that's where, and there is a lot of fear. I think fear drives a lot of this anxiety because we fear what's coming up next. And like I said, either of those candidates, we feared about change. And change is not always a bad thing. It could be a good thing. It's just time will tell how this plays out.
Absolutely. And for a little bit, I want to get into maybe the psyche of a candidate for a losing or the winning candidate. How do you kind of, for a moment there, you think you believe in yourself? Obviously, that's why you're running for the highest office, and then for it to be not yours. How do you kind of, not, I don't want to say bounce back, but how do you kind of just kind of be okay?
I mean, I certainly couldn't understand what they are going through right now, both the candidates, but I can tell you that some of the qualities of a good leader are also accepting losses that come their way. And I think she's done it so gracefully. I was listening to her speech, and I feel like that's exactly what we needed at this time, is that grace, that poise, that not giving up. And I think to be a good leader, you have to be able to accept a loss just as gracefully as a win.
There you go.
Because it's not for everybody for a reason. There has to be some degree of balance in there. And I'm sure when they run for this kind of election, they're prepared for both those sides.
Sure. And we were speaking a little bit earlier about holidays coming up. You know, we got Thanksgiving coming up first. What are some tips, though, because you know this will be a topic around the dinner table for families.
Right.
What are some tips that you could give family members for Thanksgiving time and anytime there's a family gathering?
Sure.
You know, to kind of maybe play it down the middle and try to not get too upset.
Sure. I think this is also so similar to any anxiety disorder, right?
Okay.
We all know factors or triggers for our anxiety. We know what those triggers are. And if you know of a family member that feels strongly about one way or the other, just be cautious of bringing a topic that actually sort of affects or impacts a holiday environment. So I say be careful, have a fun conversation, but go back to that thought of just be in control of your words. That's something that I can have control over my words in my language and how I address an issue. And if it gets too rough, just go back to your pies and enjoy your pie.
There you go. Yeah. Nothing could go wrong with pie, right? I think that'll bring everyone together. And is there any last other tips that you would like to give anybody, maybe if they're feeling a little bit anxiety this week, obviously?
So, I think negative feelings are very strong, and they consume our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual being. So are positive thoughts. I think they both are contagious. So at this point, when we have a final outcome, moving forward, we all have to think about building everybody back up. The party that won, the party that did not win. I think we all have to get united and stay positive and go back to giving back to society, because that definitely brings back a feeling of self-worth and self-value, and, and sort of keeping some of those negative feelings on the side.
Yes.
That would be my take-home point at this point.
Well, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Harper.
you for
Thank you so
having
much for
me.
everything. Yeah, that was amazing. And Thanksgiving right around the corner. Maybe we could kind of settle those scores there with family or friends even.
This couldn't be any better, right?
Yeah,
it's
perfect
a perfect
time.
timing.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Let's go now
Thank you.
to the State Department there for their daily briefing.
All right.
So